Good morning, good Moxie morning. Okay, I want to talk about habits and how habits are everything because I really do believe it. And it's just such a topic, like discipline and habits, right? No one really wants to talk about it. And yet, when I see people starting their business in the first year of their business, good morning, Taylor. In the first year of your business, starting online, you absolutely have to start killing off bad habits. So best way to do that is to apply new habits, okay? And it's all about consistency. People don't realize in the first year of your business, you need to be marketing like 80% of the time. And I don't mean 80% of the time that you're awake, but you know what? You'd get there faster if you did. So 80% of your time in the first year, second year, until you start hitting your goals, until you get to six figures, okay? You need to be marketing a lot. And consistency is the hardest thing for people. I'm telling you, I just shared this in High Ticket Mastery this morning, that when you start creating habits around like always showing up no matter what, I was just thinking of Marie Osmond and how, it's always baffled me that when her son died, hi Maria, good morning, sweetheart. Thank you, that's so sweet. But when Marie Osmond, when her son died, it was either that day or the next day she went on stage and performed. And that baffled me. I was like, what? I actually, we have judgments, right? We do. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm not sure if I necessarily, I think it's weird. I thought it was weird, right? Hi, Mark, good morning. And so I thought, how could she do that? But you know what? She had created a habit around showing up no matter what. And for all we know, I didn't respect it. That a part of me didn't want to respect it. But, there's always more to the story that we're not hearing. And, she created a habit of always showing up. And without having that habit, she could have maybe even, had a breakdown. It also could have been something that she was a tribute to her son. For all I know, all the songs were, a tribute to him. And she needed that to keep going. So here's the thing. Again, everything is a habit. So when you have a habit of showing up no matter what, especially in that first year, you've created a habit for a lifetime, because what will really happen is that you'll see what it did for you. And if you've not been able to do that in sales, in marketing, in business, in whatever it is that you did before, if you weren't able to create habits and that just was always a struggle for you, then this is something you've got to accomplish, or you won't hit your numbers. Yes, you've got to do the right things, but you've got to create these habits. So showing up no matter what. Here's what I always noticed in sales with me is that, I didn't think it was like some kind of dynamo, but I would ask myself, when I would surprise myself, I would hit these numbers and I'd look and a lot of times they would put your numbers up and you could see other people's numbers, and I'd think, what am I doing that's so fantastically different? And I'm telling you, I think it was just showing up. Show up. And it's amazing when you start showing up no matter what, when you commit, that's really what I'm talking about here. When you commit to hitting a number, which requires you to commit to new habits, you will just stand out. You will stand out and you'll be like top salesperson, top whatever. It's because most people don't. So, I've said this before about 8 to 12% of Americans' income is six figures. What? Think about that for a minute. Only 8 to 12% of America's income, top income rather, is about 100,000, and only 1 to 3%. 1% a few years ago, I think it's up to 3% of American income is at $250,000 annual income. So I think it's just habits. Yeah, it's putting yourself out there and doing what some people would consider risky things, like starting a business. That's risky to some people. Those things, those acts, it is a way of thinking, right? There's a habit around a way of thinking. There's a habit around everything. And so I'm telling you, if you start committing to these habits of showing up every day to do a live stream, showing up every day to send out your emails to your list, showing up every day with a call to action. And by the way, my call to action is themoxiechallenge.com. If you're struggling with this right now, with the creating the habits and understanding what you need to do in your first year of business, because I'm here to tell you what you're doing in your first year of business with that creating the habits has a lot to do with how you feel about yourself and self-worth. So if you have bad habits, you got to work on your self-worth. So there are habits of thinking, right? To build that up, to build that muscle up. Start putting yourself in raising your standards, raising your vibration. There are things that you can do, but that needs to be done. And then you will step into that leadership role once you create a habit of thinking differently and being habitual about being habitual with, and we just talked about this in Rich Bliss and Moxie yesterday. It was the first class, and I taught them how to do. There's a practical ritual that you can do every day. I went through it, and it's very repetitive. Every day, just takes a few minutes, and it will change the neural pathways in your mind. That's one of the first habits that you can create for yourself, to get yourself what I call in the game, in the Moxie zone, right? And then you create a habit of showing up no matter what on live stream, no matter what on a teleclass. Maybe you're not ready for a live stream. That's okay. I'm not going to judge that. You can work up to that, but join a group or something where you can actually get on live stream in what you would consider a safe place. Because if you created a habit of stopping, if you create a habit of, oh God, I'm supposed to show up, I'm not going to, I'm going to let something else happen to sabotage myself. Okay, so if you think about what can happen right before something has a lot of fear around it, like if you have a lot of fear around showing up to do a speaking gig, and you have a habit around canceling or rescheduling something that has a certain fear level to it or energy to it. If you have a habit of a lifetime, sometimes people have a habit of giving up right before or rescheduling, putting it off. If you've created a habit of that, you're gonna continue on with that behavior until you break the habit by replacing it with something else. So if you can replace the habit of showing up consistently for a year in your marketing and doing the necessary things for a year, even 6 months, if you can do that, you can do it forever, okay? And then the question will be, now, see, you proved to yourself through this new habit that it works. Why aren't you continuing? Why aren't you making $250,000 in the top 1%? It's a matter of showing up. So getting back to what I was saying about sales. So why was I always in the top producers in business, or I'm sorry, in sales? Because I showed up, okay? And I learned that just naturally. I just learned that. It's not something that was natural to me. Some people do have these natural habits. Like it just is natural for them. And routine, and Virgos are that way. And I've seen this with different astrological signs. Don't laugh at me, but I see a connection there with personality types. But here's the thing, it was not something that was natural to me, okay? So I had to see it, and then I became uncomfortable with not performing at the level I knew that I could. Yes, Mark, Mr. Virgo man. But it was not a natural thing. So I'm not telling you this and acting like this is an easy thing. It was not an easy thing for me. So what do you have to do? Who do you need in your life to hold you accountable to get over this and to be in that top, 8% of American income? What habits do you need? I know what habits you need to create, but what do you need to do for yourself? Is it the accountability? I mean, is that what it is? Because if you look at those numbers, it's quite apparent that these people in the top 1% are doing something differently. And yes, we can all say, well, it's because they have businesses. Well, yeah, that they created a habit around showing up, and that's what you have to do to succeed in business. You just do. And so what do you have to do in your life that's basically leadership. It's a leadership skill, the showing up no matter what, okay? So I took it to a different level in class, in High Ticket Mastery class today, where I talked about how we can create a habit of giving up and it kills our confidence, okay? So what bad habit do we need to kill off and replace, right? We need to kill off, move out, and then out of our life, and then start showing up and proving to yourself, proving to God, proving to the universe, proving to everyone around you that you mean business. And then things will start happening. But it's that first year that's where people struggle, and it has to do with habits in the way you think, habits in showing up, doing your marketing, habits in showing up to learn sometimes too. And then don't get stuck in that whole, I created a habit about learning, but now I haven't stepped into actually taking action. Those people, you know, the perpetual going to college, oh, I've completed, now I'm going to go back to college for something else. Then I'm going to go back to, I have people in my family that I'm noticing, and I'm noticing that I've had friends that do that too. It's almost like, okay, now you have to apply, or you need to apply what you've learned, or you need to up the game in a certain habit to get to a certain level in your industry, and instead you back off and you start over in a different industry. And there's nothing wrong with realizing that you're in the wrong industry, but if you have a lifetime of this, have you made a habit of this? That all of a sudden when things get a little bit heated, right? Or when all of a sudden you need to actually start playing at a different level, a different game, you go back to the same habit of starting over, thinking that the problem is in what you're selling, or the problem is in what you're doing, or the problem is what you're not doing. Most always, the problem is that you're not doing something, and that means you're actually not showing up for whatever reason, okay? So break the habit, and then ask yourself, now do I like this industry? So succeed at something is what I'm saying. Succeed at something, sales specifically if you're in business, succeed at sales, and then ask yourself, okay, so what do you need to do to succeed in sales in your business? To prove to yourself, okay, so now that you've mastered sales, you can apply that to any industry, okay? I've wanted to bring on another industry into what I'm doing. Did I say that right? I want to, and I'm not going to share it. Kimberly knows, I shared it with her the other day, but I want an add-on to my business, basically create another business as an add-on, and it will take some knowledge, and it sounds fun, and I'm really excited about it, and I'm going to do it. There will be a time for me to do it, but I'm not giving up on what I'm doing to go start something else. I'm adding on. So you've got to master certain skills and quit giving up, because the habit is killing you. It's killing your confidence. It's not showing you and proving to you that you could be the top 8% that, you know, of income, which by the way is only $100,000. That's insanity. So if you've hit $100,000 in your business, really you need to pat yourself on the back apparently, because you're only in the 8 to 10, or you're the top 8 to 12% of America, okay? And I'm telling you, it has to do with habits. It has to do with fears too, and not being able to face certain fears, but I'm telling you, it's more habit than anything. Okay, so if you're interested in creating these habits and really tapping into what you need to do and help you stay accountable, go to moxiechallenge.com and sign up. It's more than just about business. It's actually, I'm going to teach you some mindset things that I've even had to do for myself. I've had to teach my clients so that they can actually create the habits to step into leadership role and actually be consistent in their marketing in that first year. Okay, you've got to be consistent, obviously, in marketing and all other areas. But let's get that sales mastered. Hit the numbers that you need to hit to prove to yourself that you can do it. Because then, I mean, if you can do that, you've just done what most people can't, okay? And then sky is the limit. Sky is the limit. Okay, bye, have a great day.